Hey guys, this is Fight Mike here. I'm matchmaking the top 15 UFC welterweight divisions since Dana has not stepped up to the plate and done so. There's some really fun matchups to be made in this division, so I'll jump straight into it with the first one that's already basically been made, but JDM versus Islam. Bang. This is such a good fight. This will be really fun. There's lots of storyline to this one, which we don't usually get. Islam having beat Volk twice, I feel like really shows that. And JDM wants to obviously get that one back for Australia, which would be fantastic. But it's a really fun matchup just because Islam hasn't really faced anyone where before we're like, oh wow, this is a really tough challenge. But JDM is exactly that. Having beaten Bilal, who's almost like a warm-up training camp for Islam, this will be a really tough fight for Islam because he's got the Craig Jones specifics, which is fantastic. And I think that they've got the styles to really put together a really good fight. I don't know, some people are saying that JDM's going to blow him out of the water, but I don't agree with that. I think it's going to be a closer 5-round decision than the JDM Bilal one. I scored that one 4-1. I would say that this is going to be a 3-2 each way, where there's maybe a round that Islam gets him in a body triangle and is just sitting on the back. But I think it should be a really fun fight. And both the Australians and Russians have had a few showdowns, well, mainly just being the Islam versus Volk fights. And I think that getting another double belt showdown like that one is really good for both nations. Just having a bit more competition between the two, I think, is actually going to really build this fight a little bit more. For this matchup, I would definitely pick JDM to win it, but I still think it will be a very fun and interesting matchup. Moving on to the next one, which is Bilal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. This one, I think, is a fantastic fight. Both of these guys aren't available right now to fight, so I think this is probably a good time to matchmake them together. Bilal needs to recover from his lip injury, his facial injuries that he sustained during the JDM fight. And Shavkat, we've all seen that post recently where he looks horrendous. He's so lean, super lean. He's just come off, I think it was an ACL or MCL surgery. And he just came out of hospital, and I think that both of them will probably need about 6 months to fully heal up from their injuries. I think the best time and place to put this card would be Abu Dhabi in February, similar to where the timing that the Adesanya versus Imavov fight was. I think that would be a fantastic fight week. I think the build-up for all of that would be fun. I think you'd really feel like a strong fight night main event from this one. Stylistically as well, it looks fantastic. Neither of these guys are going to be able to hold each other down, I don't think. And they're both blockheads with not much head movement, so you'll get to see a lot of brain damage, which isn't obviously the best, but it is fun to watch. So it'll be a brawl. The head movement, there'll be no taking the head off center line when punching, but there'll be lots of punches thrown. I don't think that this will be a big kicking affair either, and I don't think that this will be fought at range. I think this will be fought in the clinch and in the boxing. And the clinch game will be really fun because both Bilal, not so much, he doesn't work off the clinch as much, but Shavkat works on the clinch a lot. And I think just seeing the work that he'll put in the clinch with Muhammad will show us a really good fight. It'll show a lot. And it's also a stylistic nightmare for both. I think that Shavkat needs to be able to push forward, and he needs to be able to sort of impose his will, hold up against the cage and control the fight. And that's something that Bilal will literally never... I will bet money that he will never let that happen. He will not be held up against the cage. He will not be held on the floor. And he will not be broken. Like, he's a very strong-minded fighter. So I think that putting these two together, it's almost... I've heard this so many times, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. I think that this will be really fun. And I think that these two blockheads are going to throw down for all of us to enjoy. Moving on, though, I do want to keep this somewhat flowing. We've got the next fight, which is Brady versus Gary. I think that this one's a really good fight. Brady's actually calling for it. Ian Gary, not so much. He's calling for a title shot that he won't get. But both of these guys are the only ones in the top 15 that want to fight somewhat soon. So match them up together. It's another really hard matchup too. Like, people are saying that Sean Brady will just blow out Ian Gary like quickly, and I really heavily disagree with that. They see the Leon Edwards matchup and think that Ian Gary's style is similar to Leon Edwards, so that's what's going to happen again, which is not. I can promise you that it's not. It's a really hard matchup. I think that Ian Gary's got better takedown defense, even though that doesn't sound right since Leon Edwards used to be known as the takedown defense guy. I think that Leon Edwards is really good at the on-the-cage takedown defense, but I don't think that he's as good on the open. I do think that Ian Gary, on the cage he might be similar, maybe a little bit worse than Ian Gary, but I think in the open, a little bit worse than Leon Edwards, sorry. But I think that Ian Gary has really good like stability and hip movement. If you like have seen, he's got really good judo. I think he did judo for a fair few years. So he's got that sort of takedown defense I think Sean Brady will really struggle with. He does like to go to like a body lock takedown or like a double leg takedown. I think both of them are going to be quite hard for him against Ian Gary. I think this will be more interesting as well than the Edwards fight because Ian Gary doesn't quit like Edwards does. He doesn't really just succumb to whatever's happening to him. He would never allow it to happen. And he's got a lot higher output than Edwards. Even though it's not effective output, not damaging output, he does have a lot of output. He will win rounds from leg kicking and moving. And I think that the Ian Gary's movement and sort of just his fighting style leads him to have less of a quit than Edwards. I know that makes not that much sense, but he's not got quit in him, Ian Gary. Even though none of us like him, he's very difficult to deal with. And I think someone like Sean Brady almost needs someone to quit in front of him. Like, he needs Edwards to shoot that panic takedown and lose that round again. Like, he needs these guys to do. He needs Gilbert Burns to not throw anything but an overhand for 25 minutes. Like, I don't think, even though he's performed fantastically, and I do really like him as a fighter, I think his last couple of performances are more his opponent, not more his opponent, but his opponent is also losing themselves the fight as well as him winning it. Whereas Ian Gary's last fight, obviously the fight before he lost to Shavkat, but his last fight was a very, very tough fight against Prates. And he schooled him for 3.5 rounds. He really did. Like, it was a really eye-opening performance for Ian Gary. But I think that he also has higher fight IQ than the last 3 opponents of Sean Brady. Sean Brady's versus Gastelum, Burns, and it was his last fight being Leon Edwards. And none of those 3 guys, they don't have the best fight IQ, whereas Ian Gary does. He's not going to shoot on him in round 3 like Edwards does, and he's not gonna play out of his strengths against Sean Brady. He's not going to let himself get held against the cage. He'll probably make it fun for all of us. I think that it will be a good fight. And I think that his boxing is a little bit better than Leon Edwards, so he might be able to deal with Sean Brady in that fact. But with all of that being said, I still would pick Sean. I know I've glazed Ian Gary for the last 3 minutes, but I would still pick Sean Brady by decision. I think that this fight will also be made somewhat soon, so we'll probably see the answer. I think it'll be 3:18 or 3:19. They'll throw this on the main card of the pay-per-view. But yeah, I think Brady would still take this one. It would still be a tough fight, but I think he wins some sort of tough decision. Maybe he gets a late sub, but I really don't see him subbing him. So yeah, I think that this is a fantastic matchup. UFC, book it now, please. Next up, I really like this fight. This is Leon Edwards versus Michael Morales. This is great. I love this fight. I think that this would be a really fun fight. I think for once Edwards would be happy to take a fight. I know. Maybe I'm lying, maybe it wouldn't. But I think he would take this fight. I think if you look at anyone else in the top 10, there's no one that I would actually say that Leon Edwards would sign the dotted line against. Maybe Ian Gary. I could see him fighting Ian Gary, but I don't think that that's where the career trajectories are going right now. I think Edwards needs to fight someone a bit lower down, someone who's not within that top 6, top 7 sort of picture. And this fight I think he would take. I think he sees what everyone else sees with Morales, that he's a very, very dangerous fighter, but he's still very green. He's not fought for that many years in the UFC, although he's undefeated. He's got a massive record. It's a tough fight. He's inexperienced. You see the way that he's throwing these punches. I almost see him as a little bit of a better Joe Pyfer. I think that this is I think that you could see him matched up in a way that would sort of just put his flaws on full display. I think that Morales is a very good fighter. I think he's got good takedown defense, good striking, but I think that he might be a little bit too bit too difficult. Like, he might be a bit too young to deal with someone with the elusive striking of Leon Edwards. And I think that he'll be a bit more determined for this fight, even though he would be determined versus Brady. I think that he knows that if he gets outstruck by Morales, that he's really got no future left in the UFC. And I think that he would really put a lot into this matchup. I think he would wrestle a lot, and I think he would have more success in the wrestling than Burns just did last weekend. But yeah, I think it's a fight that he'll take. So I think that we should give it to him. I think that Morales, although some people are saying that they should slow burn him, I still think he's got such a clear method of winning through boxing with Edwards that I think he should still take the fight. And if you look down the rankings, you can see some harder matchups for Morales than Edwards. Like, I would say a Prates is even a bit harder for Morales than Edwards will be. But yeah, so this will be a tough fight for Edwards. But I think that this would be a good matchup for him, and I think he would win some sort of terrible, boring decision. But it would be, maybe not boring, but it would be a schooling. I think if he wins this one, we're looking at Morales like, okay, we need to bring you back down the rankings a little bit. But it's a good fight, and it's a natural career progression for Morales, even though he's getting up to the top early. I think he's got a chance. Like, I think he should still take the chance as well. Moving on, we have the next fight, which has already been made. I won't chatter about this one too much. It's Usman versus Buckley. I was going to match them up for after this fight's been finished, but I think that they're going to take a lot of damage. I think both of these guys, no matter who comes out, I think that they're going to be like maybe a broken cheekbone, broken nose, maybe a couple of broken hands here and there, maybe a few metacarpals need fixing. But yeah, this is a tough fight for both. It's already scheduled. It's happening, I think, in mid-June or July. I'm not 100% sure on the timing. I probably should have checked that. But it should be a really fun fight, really fun build-up. I don't think that you're getting two people that'll chat as much as these guys in the top 15. And again, like the last fight, good career progression for both. So Usman needs to prove his worth. He needs to prove something to anyone in the top 15. I think he's only got maybe 2 ranked wins at the moment. So he needs to win this one. He needs to get it if he wants to stay relevant in the UFC's division. And I think Buckley, if he does lose this one, he'll be shafted for a long time, which he will not want. I think that he would struggle to find a top 5 matchup for a year or so, even if he loses this one, because of the backup from Islam and JD Yam and all of these sorts of fights. And I think that the winner of Sean Brady versus Ian Gary would get it before these guys. So I think both of these guys need to win this one, so it'll be a great fight. I'm not going to go too in-depth on this one. I'll go more in-depth just before the card and release event predictions video for it and break down the whole event. But I think this will be a fantastic fight. Early prediction, I'd say I'd take Buckley for this one. I think maybe late rounds TKO. Or it could be like a blockhead Henry Cejudo Yadong fight where it just gets called. I could very much see that. I could see like a head clash calling this one or something. On to the next one, to a fun matchup. I know what you're thinking. This won't happen. You tell me it won't happen. But if I'm Colby, I kind of might take this one. I know I would. If I was Colby, I'd probably look at the top 15 and be like, yeah, I'm not fighting anyone ever. But this is a good fight. This is a really good fight. I think that this is, again, like a good progression of the top 15 that needs to happen. It would have a great build-up, and this is probably one of the lowest ranked fights that you could have headline a fight night. And I think it would be an interesting fight. I think people would think that MVP will be way too fast for Colby, which he will. But I think that stylistically, you're not getting a good fight out of MVP if you keep throwing him strikers. He'll either beat them in a very tat-for-tat sort of decision, or he loses to the striker due to terrible grappling. It's like when you see two terrible strikers but great grapplers fight each other and they're just Ronda Rousey boxing in front of you. So it's not going to be that sort of matchup. I think that this is probably one of the only fights that you can put together in the top 15 that's still fun for MVP, that actually turns out to be a good product. I think that Colby's style of moving forward and he doesn't chase people like he used to. If he still fought like that, I'd pick first round KO for MVP, but he's a lot more measured now because I think he knows he doesn't have the cardio or the EPO to get this one going. And I think he would be still wrestling, and I do think he would find success on wrestling with MVP. I think when, you know how MVP just leaps through the air at multiple points in the fight with a flying right hand coming through the air. I think if Colby can take him down on the first couple of those and then lose a decision for the rest of the fight, because then he'll get flying kneed if he keeps going in for them. But I think he can steal enough rounds to win a decision in this. And I don't see him doing that to anyone. Like, you put him against Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's just going to sprawl and brawl and beat him up so badly. So I think that we need this fight. Like, I think this is the only fight that Colby might have a chance in. Even though it looks like he won't, I think there's a chance that he gets it. And I think it's worth the UFC paying him a decent flog to fight this. Because there's a chance he either wins and he becomes back into the top 15, and, well, he already is in the top 15, but back into the fans' top 15s. And then we'll be able to match him up with some other fun fights after. And then if MVP wins, it's going to be by flying knee, TKO or KO. So, the UFC have almost been waiting for a highlight reel KO of Colby Covington. So this is probably the only fight that you'll get in. He's still got a head on him. Like, you saw that Buckley fight, he was tanking some of those shots. So he's got a potential for that highlight reel KO with a flying knee. I really do think that, even though he tanked the shots against Buckley, I still think that it would, and it was such an unsatisfying ending. I think that MVP could put an ending to it, or Colby could come out and win. And these are similar aged guys. They've been around the same generation. Like, they would know of each other. Like, I think this is a good fight to put together, and you could you could have it be a main event of a fight night card anywhere. And I think that it would be a pretty hyped bout. It's better than some of the Macy Barber one versus Erin Blanchfield this weekend. Like, no one really cares about that fight. And it's like a ranked 3 to ranked 5 matchup. This is ranked 9 to 15. So it's a really good fight you could put on. And I really hope the UFC does it. I doubt they will, though. I will move on. This next one, you guys are going to hate me for this. I know what it looks like. I know it looks like I'm feeding him to the young and hungry prospects, but trust me, this is not the case. I have good reasoning for giving Thompson battle. I think he can win. I think he can win. Like, this is not just me saying, I hate Brian Battle after getting a robbery decision over Randy Brown, but I really think that Stephen Thompson can win this fight. Like, he's not Jose Aldo. He can get off the cage. I promise you, he will get off the cage as well. And I think that you need like a specific recipe to beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I think that you need like 2 of these 3 things, being really good wrestling, not just hold against the fence, like take him down, ground and pound. You need that. You need some really good leg kicks as well. You need to be able to make him not just bouncing away from you Wonderboy style. Like, you need those good leg kicks. And I think that you also need really good boxing. I think that you need in-tight, close boxing to beat him. So I think you don't need all 3 of those attributes, but you need 2 of 3. And Brian Battle has maybe 1-ish. I would say 0, to be honest. Like, he's good all round, but he's not fantastic at anything. And I think that this would be a very winnable fight for Thompson. It's still a big name. And although we all hate him at the moment, Brian Battle does deserve a chance at the top 15. And you may as well give him the one that he's going to lose. I know, it's a good fight, and I think it would be a fun fight. I think if he wins it, it's going to be similar to the Joaquin Buckley versus Stephen Thompson fight, where he's losing until he's winning. But even then, I just don't really think he wins. And if he does, then we're kind of just checking how washed Wonderboy is. If Wonderboy loses this fight, I think we can all comfortably say that he wins it in his prime. Because you watch Prime Wonderboy, he smokes Battle. He smokes him. So let's check if he's still top 15. If he beats Battle, then we can give him a retirement fight versus Jeff Neal. We can give him a retirement fight versus MVP, even though no one wants that. Well, actually, people do want that, but they don't want that, trust me. But it's a good fight. I think Brian Battle does deserve a name somewhat, even though he won by robbery split decision in his last. I think he needs a big name. I think he needs someone to propel up from Randy Brown. No one's propelling up from Randy Brown. But it would be a good fight. I think that they could put this as a pay-per-view opener, maybe a prelim headliner on a good card. And yeah, it's just a good fight. The other thing about this matchup, the one sort of negative to it, is if Brian Battle does beat MVP, he probably becomes in like the top 5 haters fighters on the roster. I think people would be like, oh, discredit the win, he was never good. Stephen Thompson was just washed and 42 by the time he fights him, which is true. But he would become such a hated person. And to be honest, that might help the promotional aspect to Battle. I think he's already hated. I think he's a good heel. He's got that... On the mic, he's already somewhat of a heel. So let's give him that. I'll move on though. I've definitely been harping on this fight for like 5-10 minutes. But we've got Jeff Neal versus Gilbert Durinho Burns. This is a good fight. I have done someone well on the top 15. I've fed someone old against another oldie. We've got a fight that's happening in the aged care home right now. But no, all jokes aside, this is a good fight. This is probably a great fight. It would be really fun to watch. I think Gilbert Burns deserves to not get the next up-and-coming hungry prospect that's going to win the belt. Like, we've been giving Durinho these like title elimination bouts even though he's on a losing streak, so why don't we give him someone a bit lower down, someone that's not Michael Moraes, 25, undefeated. We need a winnable matchup for him, and I think Neal is somewhat winnable. I still think I would pick him to lose it, but like, it's a fun fight, and I think you would like to take that. I think since Neal's been at the top of the division for a long time now, I think that this makes sense. They've never fought. Be a good fight. I think it's a good retirement fight for Burns too. Like, we don't want a retirement fight for him versing anyone that's unranked. Like seriously, imagine him versing like literally anyone unranked. Like it would be such a terrible fight. Like you don't want to see him lose to another young and hungry lion. We want to see him fight another oldie. We want to see if he's still got it. And the thing is that even if it's not his retirement fight, this should be the fight that gauges if he's just fighting unranked bums, if he's PFL, or if he should be retired, which he probably would after this fight. And the other thing is that Neal has been injured, he's been inactive, he's never really been the most active guy, but he's been really inactive over the past couple of years. His last fight was, I believe it was RDA, and that was just like, man, RDA is so past it by that point. It was like not even really a fight if you saw it. It was at UFC 308 during the prelims. We could give him Durinho, and it's a tougher fight for both. Like, we were giving Jeff Neal Prates, but I've got someone else for Prates at the moment. So let's put him against Durinho. I think both of them could deserve some time off, even though Neal's always got some time off. Durinho needs some time off after that first round TKO. I don't think he took that much damage though, even though he got hit a lot of times and dropped twice. It was less of a damage-based drop, more of an overwhelming-based drop. So I think that this is a good fight to put together in the meantime. Maybe end of the year. It'd be a good time to put it on. Moving on. Next fight, which is... we have the winner of Luque vs. Holland versus Rinat Fakhretdinov. I know no one's hyped for this one. I know that this is like... this is just like teetering on like just hatred. I think I actually don't like this matchup. I put it together for no reason. No, I'm joking. It's a terrible matchup. I'm not joking about that. But Rinat deserves a top 15 opponent. Holland will probably beat Luque, and if Luque wins, it's by first round subs, so he'll take no damage at all. And if Holland wins, probably first round TKO. And even if he went 3-round decision, he will fight anyone at any time. He does not like his career. He does not like getting paid by the UFC. So he's speedrunning getting cut. And what we'll do is we'll speedrun it with him. We'll force him to fight Rinat Fakhretdinov, who will beat him. It won't be a spectacular performance, but I think that it's the fight that Holland's the fighter that will take that fight. No one in the top 15 is going to want to fight Rinat. Like, that's not the first fight people are calling for. So I would really pick Holland to be the only one to fight him. So let's book it. And I've seen people online wanting to give Holland someone further up in the top 15. Please don't. He does not deserve it in any way, shape or form. He's not winning against anyone in welterweight that's of any importance at all. He beat Gunnar Nelson. His last win was like 3 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. It was probably 2 years. But like, man, we need to not give him Jeff Neal for a rematch that they had in the regional scene. Like, we don't need to see that. It's not like we can see him building in and fighting the top 5 guys and winning. We won't see Holland doing that. So let's just get someone else who has title aspirations into the top 15, and that's Renat. No one likes him, but he can still win fights, and he will fight them. Next up, and also the other thing about this matchup, I know that Renat hasn't fought this year, but just keep him inactive. I think that this is one of these Umar Nurmagomedov situations where no one in the top 15 wants to fight him. So I think that don't give him some more unranked cans, because then no one cares about him. Just get him to fight these fan favourites to lead the name, and if he's really good, we can sort of Khabib him, get him to defeat everyone's favourite fighter and become the favourite fighter, which will never happen. Look at him. He's never going to be anyone's favourite fighter. Sorry, Renat. But next up, we got Prates versus Brown. This is a good fight. This was probably not what people are matching up Prates for. I think people are still giving him people up the rankings. I see people matching him up with Neal. I disagree. I see people matching him up with Thompson, and it's like, don't do Thompson like that. Don't. And Thompson called for the fight. Please, Thompson, don't call for these fights you're going to get smoked in. Even though I could see the distance management being difficult, I don't like the fight anyway. I don't want that on there. I like this fight. I think Randy Brown, after getting robbed by Brian Battle, should still get a top 15 opponent. He's won like a ridiculous amount of fights over the last couple of years. I think he's like something like 7-2 in the UFC, or maybe like 9-2. I'm not 100% sure. But they fought on the same card. They work with time, like schedules, and I think that this will be a good fight. They've got similar builds and somewhat similar striking. Like, if you watch Prates, he throws more straight punches, but they both wing their long arms out and get these juicy hooks on people. So I would like to see that matched up. And I don't want to put Prates against these high-level guys, putting him against even Neal. I could see Neal holding him against the cage for 2 rounds and then winning a decision. Like, I think we got to put him against someone that's going to make it fun. And I think that we got to stop burning out these prospects by, you lost to someone that's higher ranked than you. Okay, we'll give you another one. Like the Steve Erceg type thing, where he loses to Pantoja, they give him the Kai Kara France, and then they give him a step up in the rankings, Moreno, when he's lost all 3. We cannot do that with Prates. He is a legitimate star in the making. So give him Brown. Brown could win. It's a very somewhat winnable matchup for Brown. But I think that it's a spot where Prates can win over some fans by defending his spot in the rankings and having a violent highlight reel KO, which he definitely could. And I think that it would be like a nice career progression. He loses to Gary, he gets to come back down on like level of opposition, which we know that Randy Brown is a level of opposition below. So we may as well give him it. We may as well build up Prates as a star. And I think Prates would TKO Brown, but anything could happen in the matchup. So it's like, we do want to see people get built up, and we don't want to be like boxing where they're just fighting cans, but this is like a legitimate, stylistically good matchup for Prates. Like, if you look up in the top 15, there's not many people that would want to fight him that scheduling wise will match up and matchup wise will match up. Like, you might get you may get Morales wanting to fight him, but again, it's just not the fight that I think should be put on. I think that we should benefit these guys out of the rankings that are just stacking up wins. So someone like Prates, whose only win in the rankings was Magny, which is the weakest ranked win you can get. I think someone like him should be able to should have to defend his spot, you know? Like, I think Randy Brown has defeated a lot of like Neil Magny type wins, not the veteran status of Neil Magny, but they've beaten people who I think would beat Neil Magny. Like, I think Nicholas Dalby somehow beats Magny. Like, they may have fought before, but I just have a feeling that Dalby beats Magny. I don't think Magny's that good. So let's make Prates defend his spot. Yeah. So this is all of the matchups that I made for the UFC welterweight division. I do think that there is a couple of unranked fun fights I was going to put on the card, but we can do that another day. So if you got this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like and subscribe for this one, and leave a comment, debate it with me. I would love for you to tell me how wrong I am, and I'd love to have a 40-minute debate in the comments with you. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all soon.